Good morning from me. Good evening to you. Okay, so what this video is about is Gunslinger, tip jar style. Gunslinger, no tip, baby, like small style. We've got some ideas on that. Double barrel, have a look at this little fella. Yeah. And then just basically the original. I want to talk through some of the physics. Good afternoon. Yes, Craig in Australia. Marcus Bay is here. So what I'm going to do is just go through some of the history and then you know, basically the future of Gunslinger as we see it. Eric Bland is here. Was yep. I mean, this is prototype stage, but this is actually Eric was one of the people who said, you know, I don't need the tip. Doug Slobodobnik is here. Casper's here. Hey, Casper. How's that holiday going? Okay, so basically I'm going to go through some... yeah, look at that. That's a custom made. So what happened, right? So I'm going to just explain some of the science, the guys who kind of, you know, get it about design. This is the original tip jar sample, you know, from, you know, made in San Diego, and you can see just details, the stitching there. You can see the way the feet are, and then we want to talk about all the things that we've learned about Gunslinger just briefly. I don't want to go into it too deeply, but one of the things is what the change was from what was, you know, tip jar and the IWCA Gunslinger is this line here, right? And when you have that line there, you see this regular circle. And what happened was if you look at a Gunslinger, right, you can see that regular circle is a different shape. And hey Paul, good on you, buddy. So what happens is if you look here, just I'm going to geek out a little bit because I think that sometimes when you go to choose which Gunslinger you want, I'm going to talk to you why we're bringing this one as well. Because this piece of plastic, you can see the line of it there. This piece of plastic has a straight line across here. So when we use torsion, so we're stitching it here and bending it, and it's creating a curve. And because that plastic material is a regular shape, it creates a regular arch. Okay. So if you look at a Gunslinger, we have an irregular shape. So it's this scalloping which makes Gunslinger look beautiful. That gives you a thickness of plastic on the inside here, a thickness of plastic on the inside here, and less plastic on the inside here. So when you actually go to bend that, it has a different arc. It just has a different arc. Doesn't make it better, doesn't make it worse. I don't think, you know, possibly even better, but it certainly makes it look gorgeous, right? But it basically, because there's less plastic here than there is here and here, then it arches more like this than like that. So that's basically the basic difference between, you know, a straight line. But what we want to do, we'll look after you, Garen, we'll look after you. Anybody who's an existing customer is just going to be looked after. You don't have to say anything, just write to me. So there's some benefits of this one that we can see. So we're going to bring this one back and say, okay, this is going to be available, you know, as tip jar. You know, we can call it tip jar, let's say. And there's a couple of things that we can do with it. We can make this slot bigger. So for the guys that are in California across to Texas and running in the extreme heat and using the Unger super big mop, right? Then you need a bigger space in here for that super big mop. That's something we've learned, right? So it's a slightly bigger cavity it's just slightly bigger than the Gunslinger. So that's one of the benefits that we can do, where we can do this with this one that we can't do it with this one and get everything to work. Okay. So the second thing, we have this thing that we call, because you're in Florida, so you're using a lot of water, Jerome. So we're working on that to make a bigger slot for the Unger, the big Unger mop, yeah? And so the second thing is if you're short at 5'8" or less, then I'm not going to call it short Fema syndrome, but it is, right? The femur bone, which is the bone that supports your, but these will be available only in one color. We're just going to release it as a model that people can buy, right? And so the logic is that if you've got a short femur, then the length between where this fits on the belt, and some guys wear it high, some guys wear it low, and then you kneel down to clean the lower pieces of glass. This material here, where is it? That material there scrapes on the ground and wears away. It doesn't matter whether we made it or whoever made it. I don't have one with that material on the bottom. But that's the logic. So what we did, duck's disease, yeah. So you'll see all gunslingers, we've put this rubber foot around the bottom, and it won't affect you. Like, I'm 6'6", it's not going to affect me. This will never wear away, I don't think. Although some guys are bashing it up against other things that we can't identify. I was just talking to a guy today who's 6'4", and he's worn away the corners, and he doesn't know what he's worn them away on, but he's worn them away. So we've got this rubber foot now. So short people could do one of two things. They could have a gunslinger, whether it's a gunslinger with a single sling at the front. It'll have rubber feet, or a gunslinger with no sling at the front, or a tip jar, but all of them will have the rubber feet, so short guys will be able to do it. But there's another solution for short guys, and let's get a short gunslinger, yeah? And we'll put the combat loops on the back, or we'll put loops. We're just looking at how to define that, so you can choose whether you want a loop for your belt, or whether you want to just go straight to clip, okay? So what happened was the whole debacle around Gunslinger is the best thing that could ever have happened. Like, it wasn't comfortable, but it was fantastic because we surveyed everybody, and then I answered everybody personally who answered the survey. And if you've got a survey and you haven't answered, send the survey in and I'll answer you personally. Or there's a few people who I didn't answer when I was on holidays yet, but it's on my game plan. And there came in a whole lot of ideas. Now, ironically, Eric Bland, I think, because he put a video up, so I think I can safely mention Eric's name. He said, I just don't need that tip function. I just don't need it. I didn't have it with my bob, and I don't need it with the Gunslinger. So he fixed his Gunslinger. Yeah, the other thing, Marcus, we're just going to make a two-tool, so the people who just want two tools don't need this width, right? They just want to put a squeegee or two squeegees in there, one mop in there. You don't need all that space, so we can get much closer to. The size of a Pool X bob or something like that, yeah? So we're working on that now. But Eric's idea was I didn't see Eric's actual work, but for us, we have these two high points that are above the waterline, the maximum waterline. Not that anybody could carry water up to here, but it basically means that we can put a hole in the Gunslinger here and it's never going to affect the water flow, right? If we started joining it down here, then we might create ourselves another problem. So basically we're going to put, these are just prototypes, but we're going to put two fixing points here, and that gets rid of the clip, gets rid of the clip, gets rid of the strap, gets rid of all the stories about, does the water come over the edge, jump over the clip, jump onto the strap. Some guys have had water, even though it's fixed on the inside, they've got loads of water coming down, it's still run down the outside. Remember that, dudes have been wrapping socks around plastic bobs for 50 years to try and stop drips. So, it's kind of, and we're going to give you one the best we can that will never get a drip anywhere. That's the basic, we understand that's a high priority for Gunslinger, and we do say no more wet leg. So, we're going to live with that. And that's our goal, right? Keep working our way towards that. So this one will come out in a single color. Maybe black and yellow, something like that, and then it'll have this regular, tight angle here. It'll be available as a tip and a no tip. So if you don't want this, and we're just thinking about putting just a couple of little raised points, not so dramatic as this, and we're going to put a couple of little raised points so that if somebody wants to get a no tip Gunslinger, then this whole body will be one, and then if you just basically tip it the way you tip a bob, right? So on the other side, this is a custom made, because one guy said to me, he said, dude, I carry a ledger and I carry a blade. Can you give me a double sling? Like, give me a double barrel front sling Gunslinger. So we made this week. This is actually going out to my very good anonymous friend who basically said, this is what I want, And so that's the fantastic thing. We had this survey and everybody goes, I like this, but I don't like that. And I like that, and I don't like this. And of course, we're all people and do everything differently. And you know, there's over 1,000 gunslingers out there in the marketplace. And let's say, even if we have 100 that are problematic, we've got 900 that are not problematic. But everybody has an idea. This is, you know, oh, can you make one for this? And can you make one for that? And the answer is yes. So if you've got any ideas, like bring me your ideas, because the design of Gunslinger like is initiated by a designer and an inventor. It's manifest by me as a manufacturer, but Reach It style is we're not interested in telling you, you know, what the tool should be because that's what we think. What we're interested in is making the tool that you think, right? Because if you think it and you've got the ability to articulate it, you're going to be able to come to speak up, and there could be 500 people who think the same or haven't thought the same, but once they see a double barrel gunslinger, they go, dude, that's exactly me. Yeah. So just the ability to say, could you do this or could you do that? That's really powerful for us, because the ultimate final design of the Gunslinger range is in your hands with Reach It. Right, and then we'll pay our royalties to the designer, and everybody's going to win. Okay, so just to give you again the dimensional differences, you know, to make a short Gunslinger, you can see it's way shorter. So anybody with a short femur, right, and also the lady window cleaners, you know, this will make a difference where you can carry the same number of tools, but it's basically geared around 14-inch tools, you know, down to the bottom of the the reservoir, we can call it that. Yeah. So I'm kind of, you know, looking to inspire you, right? I know this is, you know, I just find it just raw exciting to inspire you from the inspiration that we're getting from the people who love their Gunslinger and say, hey, I've got this idea, I've got that idea, right? The other thing that I just want to point out, like the biggest weakness of Gunslinger design at the beginning is basically this stitching here. Now, if you grab your Gunslinger and you slide it across your belt like this, or you wear a normal belt, like not a nylon woven belt, like an Unger belt or an Ettore belt or a tool belt, but that basically the woven, I don't think I've got one here. But if you pull it from here, it slides evenly and across like this. But if you pull it from here, it tips on the belt. And the belt, if you look at your belt, it has a serrated edge. It's you kind of don't relate to it, but it's got a serrated edge. And so basically, as you go across, the belt will cut into this. When you pull it back, it'll cut into this. And that's where we get some, you know, problematic, where these belt loops came undone. And, you know, if you have a look at, if you're a Gunslinger owner now, just get in there and have a look and see if it's starting to wear. We have a fixed kit that, you know, when we made Gunslinger $99, a lot of people think it was overpriced, but it was priced so that we could do what we're doing right now. If you have a problem with your Gunslinger, we replace it. We always have. If we see an idea that could be universally retrofitted, then we'll send that idea out. And that's what we've always done with Reach It. That's what we've done with Constructor Brush, and that's what we're going to do with Gunslinger, and are doing with Gunslinger. So you can see here, by putting 2 metal studs in here just above the stitch line, I don't think you can see the stitch line, but it's there, right? Then what's going to happen now, even if you're using a belt that's, you know, serrated or whatever, then this, the belt will now run on the metal rather than run on the stitching as you pull it over and slide it across on your serrated edged belt, right? It's a little blunt knife that I think inevitably all gunslingers have the potential to fail in this piece of the system here. So that's why we want to, hey Chisholm, good to see you. I'm sorry I offended you too, by the way. I saw your comment. It was a drunken rant, and it was using a word that the person that I was talking to was publishing continually about the other person. So anyway, but I do feel upset that I kind of upset you, but I come from a land of where cussing, like our children cuss, so it's a cultural difference. Anyway, but I also cannot cuss, so I've just got to accept responsibility for that. So you know, I think And the other thing we've done, what we realized is so send me, Jerome, if you've got that idea, you want a bigger space and a channel holder. We're making a channel holder, by the way, on the belt. Maybe tomorrow or the next day I'll start coming back to you, maybe Monday or Tuesday, I'll come back to you on belt design. So we've got a belt pouch design that we're working on right now. I'm super excited about it, so clever. But one of the modules, right, of the belt design will actually be a channel holder. So you'll be able to hold, let's say, you don't need to hold a 6-inch because your 6-inch will be in your front sling, right? Or your double barrel front sling. But so basically an 8-inch, a 10-inch, 12-inch, and a 14-inch or something, then you'll actually be able to carry them on your belt in a little pouch made exactly for them. So I'm really excited about, belt design. And the other thing is, obviously, by developing that, I get rid of this tendency to want to put the channels in here, because a guy's doing a lot of storefronts. He wants to carry a lot of channels with him, and he wants to put it in here. And that was what, we had 3 or 4 that broke at this point here, because they were just jamming tools down in here and ultimately stressing this too much. So that's why you'll see some of the Gunslingers, we put this on the outside, like the original, tip jar had it on the outside. So I personally, I've just spent, 10 minutes trying to get the water to come down here and jump over there and onto the strap, and I couldn't get it to do it. But anyway, we've worked out now how to get an adjustable strap and get it stitched on the inside without affecting the water of the reservoir. Okay, so the reason why we have an adjustable strap, if you wanted to, is that you can basically, by having an adjustable strap, you can change this relationship here, right? So if you were getting, for example, if you were getting splash and you don't want to use the sponge that we supply with it, or you don't want to put a piece of sea sponge in there, or you don't want to put a white non-scratch pad, any of those will baffle the free body of water that will splash or can splash. But there's another way to do it. You can lift this up here like this, and that closes off that little area there. By the way, if you have a Gunslinger that splashes and there's a big 1 centimeter gap in there, then just send me the photo of that and we'll replace that, because those ones were made before we understood the importance of getting this to here. Okay, so man, I'm excited. I think this is just really, it's no different than what I imagined when I first saw it. It's an incredibly exciting product. Chloe, my firstborn, is here. Look at this. So this is a double barrel Gunslinger. That's funny. That's a bit of factory talk right there. This is basically the original design, which gives us the ability to create a perfect arc for those who like it, and we have the ability to make a bigger slot here. But we've got another one, Jerome. By the way, we have another one which Richie designed, was the Bombardier. He called it as a prototype name, and it's a massive Gunslinger, right? So we're making a massive Gunslinger for dudes that want to carry massive tools, and in particular this Unger. We're also making mop covers, by the way. I'm going into a meeting today on mop covers, because we've learned a lot about mop sleeves, let's call them, from Gunslinger, because everybody's talking about what happens with their mop. And so we're learning about, guys that want to carry a lot of water, guys who want less water. Talking to a guy in Wisconsin today, he wants less water because he's up there. He said, my water lasts forever. You talk to somebody in Texas and he goes, man, I just want as much water as I can possibly have, because if I can get that much water in a mop, right, then I just don't have to dip it or water it up with a water bottle or whatever, and it doesn't dry. I can keep it wet and all that stuff. So I'm not a squeegee guy, so sometimes if I say something wrong, like you can see, sometimes I get shut down because I said something that somebody else told me. So just please temper it, that I'm a listener and a doer, right? I'm not a trainer, right? So if you say I said something wrong, tell me I said it wrong. Don't bag me up for saying it wrong, right? And I will learn from what you tell me. Okay, so big slot for the big mops for the high temperature areas. Double barrel front sling for the guys that want to carry a ledger and a blade in the front of their Gunslinger. Rubber feet. Alan Smith's here. He's my favorite Texan, right? So rubber feet, so the guys with short femur syndrome can scrape this thing on the ground and it'll last the distance. We've also defended this piece here, because you'll see some photos of guys where it's moving a lot here and creating a weak point in the PVC fabric. So we've strengthened. Ken Taylor's here. I think you'll appreciate this video, Ken, because you're like one of the deep thinkers of our industry. And I know, sometimes I don't always get first time you tell me something, but you can see here, like we've reinforced that so that leading edge. There's another one. Some guys in Texas carry a knife in their pocket, like they're born with knives in their pockets, and so this part of the Gunslinger, when it slides across the belt, also clips onto the knife. So you've seen some that have worn there. I mean, I've just studied. Unfortunately, Jacob Dell's here. Look at that, Jacob. I mean, that's it. That's the double barrel front sling, just about to be sent out to my anonymous friend customer, so he doesn't get slammed. And it's just sweet, beautiful. So and then we've got tip jar. We're going to bring that out so that the people who really feel that this was a better design will be able to buy it. And it's going to have a bigger slot here, because by the nature of what we can do with this and this, we can actually have a bigger slot in there. And then this one, I think I already showed you, Jacob, is a prototype, but we've actually fixed it now. We've taken, it's the short one for 14-inch tools, standard width, so you can put the same number of tools in there, and it's got the locks are going to be put in here. We're just now sourcing what materials we want to make these out of, but that is your no-tip gunslinger. So when you want to empty the water out, you'll have to empty it out the same way as you do with a plastic bob. And what I think what'll happen is that this is so beautiful. You can't really see how beautiful it is with this camo fabric. Pardon me. But once we make it in a solid or in a PVC, just the simplicity of the lines. This ribbing will be black. So it'll the lines will be gorgeous. And then the next one we're doing is making them smaller. Yeah. Yeah, because Jamie, the thing is that this product did not exist. So everybody puts, the designer puts 2 years thinking into it. He comes up, that's what he can do. He then, says, okay, we can make it more beautiful. So this is what we can do. And then after that, it's like, you've just got to put it out there, and you've got to find out how to improve it, because we don't know how to make something that didn't exist before as any better than the maximum amount of thinking that we can do about it, right? So and that's where there's a particular sector in if you study economics, there's a bell curve of early adopters and laggards, right? And then all the people in the middle is a bell curve of who buys what when. And every product needs early adopters, and that's why we look after our early adopters. The guys who bought bronze brush, if they wanted to upgrade to window weapon, then they got $100 off the window weapon, or they could buy the upgrade kit for $100, right? But we couldn't have developed window weapon unless we'd have made bronze brush. You see, so it's step by step. And if you look at your business, you could say, why didn't you start your business and just go and pick up the biggest customer in town? Because you didn't know how. So you had to start somewhere. So you might have started with residential, you might have started with storefronts, and then you got your skills together. And then as time goes on, we've got a whole belt, Lucas. We have the Reach It belt. I'll finish this little metaphor. So unfortunately, yeah, great, thanks. I got a little defensive. Some of my friends go, dude, like we're your friends, and I go, I'm walking on eggshells. I'm just so sensitive. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm tough, but I'm like a crab. And the underside's still a bit soft. So if the seagull can drop me on the rocks and get me to land on my back, I then go peck, and it hurts, right? All right. So what was that other one? There's something else somebody said there. The whole belt. Okay, so we have a range of belts. We've actually got the belts made, and then we sent a couple out to some guys. And if you want a belt and you're buying some other stuff, I'll throw a belt in. But here it is. If your waist was 32 inches, no, this guy's waist was 34 inches, but we sent him a 34-inch belt, and then of course he has to kind of wear the belt under his jeans. Well, we send it to him in winter, so he's not only wearing his jeans, he's wearing his long johns, and then on top of his long johns, he's got his his inner jacket, and then he's got his outer jacket. So some guys wear the hey Dante, good on you. Are you in Myrtle Beach yet? So some guys have got the outer jacket and they wear the belt on the outside of it. Other guys have got the outer jacket and they wear the belt on the inside of it, right? But then the jacket gets in the way. So I'm trying to think about that. By the way, if anybody's got a solution about how to wear a jacket and still get access to the Gunslinger, what do we do here? Do we make a little, a little flap that comes up, which they can just tuck the jacket in there and hold it away from the slots? I don't know. See, I've never worn a bob, and I'm not out on the tools anymore, right? So I did squeegee, but people who've seen my squeegee technique can see it's completely rusty now. But I just carried a bucket around, right? So it's kind of weird. Yeah. So what was I talking about? Hang on a sec. The belts. Yeah. So this guy had a 34-inch waist. And then he actually needed like a 42-inch belt when he measured it all, right? He needed a 42-inch belt for winter because he was up, Wisconsin or somewhere like that. So that's what we have to, because these belts that we're making are a fixed length so that you don't have that overlap, because most of the Unger, Ettore, Dickey, blah, 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 all the belts on the market, what they do is they try and make a universal belt. And then they give that whole flap, which might be this long on one guy and that long on another guy, but that's all belt. Yeah, it'll be a reach-it belt. Yeah, it will be a reach-it belt and a reach-it bag, right? So, so you get this belt and you get all this waste of belt space because you've got this flap, right? So it's in the way. So if you can buy a belt that's actually within 2 inches of the size that you want, then there's not going to be any overlap. And then you can slide everything straight to the front here, everything straight to the front here, everything all the way around. So that's basically the maths that we're working on for the belt. Eric's writing. Let me have a look at that. If they have that problem, you can wear a zip jacket like the police do in the States. The jackets have side zips so the officers can reach for their guns. Yes. But if we could, I don't know, but if there was it wouldn't need to be much, and we could probably secure it with these two bolts here. If there was just a little, upward piece of plastic, we just bend a piece of plastic in there, and then they just tuck the jacket in there. I don't know. 70 inches, Jacob. Man. Anyway, I will make you, Jacob Dell, you give me the dimensions, and I will make you a Jacob Dell belt. We'll call it the Dell belt. Right? Man, that's a girth, my friend. That's a girth. Okay, so closing it. Gloves. We can do gloves with Casper. Casper's an expert in gloves, actually. Phew, had me scared. So Casper is an expert in gloves. So we've got some gloves that Casper's already got, but we haven't done anything with them. Because we kind of got distracted for a whole month of January, and then I went on holidays for 2 weeks in February. So, and now the season's starting, and now my daughter Breeze started with us, so she's like just busting our systems open and saying, look, you need this, tighten this ship up, So it's fantastic. She's really doing a great job. So we're going to be a better company as a result of everything that's happened. I'm so pumped, actually. Okay, so any questions, any design ideas, fire them at me. You can take a photo of a product and then use markup in your phone. Casper's the Black Diamond guy, right? So, but he also makes all sorts of rubber products, right? He makes diving gear, and he's working in the medical industry as well. Ron Musgrave's here. Good to see you, Ron. So, if you get any ideas, any development ideas, I wish it was this, or what it was that, then mark it up on a photo and say, if this was this, or that was that, or this was bigger, or that was smaller, or if I had this on the back, or whatever it is, and then let us, we'll put it into our team, we'll hand cut it, and design it, and then send it out to you for prototyping. Okay, so the smart guys are going to get Gunslingers. Maybe I'll ask you to pay shipping or something, maybe, But we're interested because it's got to be a crowd-sourced innovation to survive in the real world. Otherwise, what will happen is that the competitors will be able to work out a better design or a different design that'll do the same thing. So the safest way for Gunslinger to be a really robust product and for the royalties to be paid in great amounts of money is that we actually listen to you guys and develop what it is that you want. Okay, so there goes a couple of new ideas, available now. Well, not available now, but kind of, anyway, I will send these out to somebody. Yeah, I mean, don't worry. I mean, the irony is, Joe, we've got 1,000 Gunslingers out there. Even if there's 100 that have had problems and we've replaced them, then there's 900 people like you who have no problems. The only thing that I'm really, really aware of is the dude who's short. We just did not have him in the consideration of the original design. And so Gunslinger 1.1 with the rubber feet is kind of like necessary for that guy. Doug Rucker's there. Yeah, the Bombardier. I'll have a play with the Bombardier in the next couple of days. I'm going to come live with my belt ideas for you to be able to give me some feedback, because I want to be able to articulate what I'm thinking about for a belt and then bring it on to you guys. And then before we go into production, we'll be able to get the first generation of, people that follow us and believe in us, the first generation of ideas. Thebomb.com. Good for you, Jerome. Yeah, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's going to be an amazing, game-changing. It's already a game changer, but it doesn't have market share. Yes, Lucas, that's an observation that I've also made, right? Of all the leaking gunslingers out there, the statistical possibility of them being in the hands of a YouTuber is multiples higher, right? But we've still got to, if they paid for them, then they're still our customers, regardless of how they feel about us. You don't trust me, that does not make me not trustworthy. If you don't like us as a company, then that doesn't change that you're our customer, as far as we're concerned. Yeah. Shh. Stop. Because we're not playing that game, right? We're just not. From a Reacher perspective, we're not playing that game. We're really passionate about pushing Gunslinger forward, not having things go backwards. Okay. Anyway, love you guys. It's really exciting times. We can hand make any idea. So when somebody rang me up the other day and he said, "Dude, I want 2 front slings. Can you do that?" 3 days after I'm back from holidays, right? We've got a prototype of it made. This is going out to him today. Yeah, so we'll be able to get some feedback. All right. Appreciate you all. Signing out. I'll push this up onto YouTube, so there'll be a link on youtube.com/future of cleaning, all one word. So if you ever wanted to forward it on to anybody, I'll also post it in Reach It Polls page, and if you do get a chance to like that page, we would appreciate it. And we have also our group, which is a vetted group, and there's no BS goes on in it, is Advanced Window Cleaning Network group. Our basic policy in there is 1 negative comment and you're out. Like if it's nasty, we just don't communicate, right? We just keep the place clean. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jamie Martin. Appreciate it. This is our life's work, right? I mean, when you clean windows, like, this is what we do. We don't do anything else other than this, right? So we have to make it work, and we have to make, and you guys are customer service, and so we understand. I was a window cleaner. I know what customer service is like. I know the customer's always right. We got a, Ken, Advanced Window Cleaning Network group. It used to be the Waterford Pole Talk group. Yep. All right, signing out. See you guys.